Hey y'all. So this is the next 4th and 5th grade project. Younger ones, if you find this video and you want to try it, go ahead. I don't care. Do it for fun. It's going to be a fun project. Alright, so we are going to be learning how to do 1-point perspective. That's an important word. Say it out loud. 1-point perspective. Wonderful. Okay, now we are going to start with just a blank sheet of paper, okay? It doesn't really matter which way you do it, but I'm gonna do it this way, all right? First thing you're gonna do is just draw a bunch of squares, different sizes, different positions and angles. I've already done mine, so I'll show you. Okay, you're gonna do it in pencil first, and then outline in Sharpie. So go ahead and do that now. Make sure they are squares, not rectangles, not triangles, anything else, squares. Okay, pencil first, then Sharpie. I just did mine with a ruler. I just measured out, like maybe this side was 5 centimeters, so every other side on that square is 5 centimeters. This one's maybe 2 centimeters. You can do it that way, or you can find something square to trace, like a sticky note pad or Legos, or if you have a square marker or something. Anything you can trace that's square. That's the important part. So when you're done, like I said, outline in Sharpie, and then you should have left a space in the middle for a dot, okay? Doesn't have to be exactly in the middle, just somewhere in the middle of your paper. Again, it does not matter which way you do it, okay? Make that with pencil. Do not make the dot with Sharpie. That's important. All right. Now, with your pencil and a ruler or a book, some kind of straight edge, we are going to make lines to that 1 point. Remember, we learned 1-point perspective is our vocabulary word. This is our 1 point. So everything is going to converge to this point. That's another word you need to learn. So all I'm gonna do is take my ruler or my straight edge, and every single point on all of my squares, I'm going to draw a line to my point. Okay, so I'm gonna line it up at the corner and then at my point. So I'm gonna do all of that now, and then I'll show you what it looks like, right? So I have started to draw my lines. You can see them here. They're all converging. Now, something I wanted to point out. This one is closest, this square is closest to my 1 point, my dot in the middle, okay? So when I went to draw these lines from this square further back, I'm actually not going to go past this square because this one and these lines are covering that up, okay? Try not to get confused. I know it's a lot. Just try your best, okay? I'm gonna finish, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like at the end. Also notice, I'm actually not drawing this point at all down, this line from this point farthest away from the dot, because it would be behind these 3. So don't worry about drawing that. You just need the 3 points closest to your dot, okay? All right, so I have finished drawing all my lines. It's a little bit hard to see on the video. But like I said, if there's a square further away from, this is your vanishing point, by the way. If there's a square further away than like a square closer to the vanishing point, you don't continue those lines all the way through. And that'll start to make a little more sense after I color this. It might be a little confusing right now, and I'm sorry. But yes. And also, like this one, if you notice, it was at such a weird angle that I could not get 3 points to show up. It was only the 2 points that showed up instead of 3 like this square. So if that happens, don't worry, it's okay. So now that I've done all of this, if you are confident that all of them match up and look good, you may trace over those with Sharpie. One other thing I wanted to mention, so like this square is cut off, so imagine it's like a big square, but it's not on the paper all the way, okay? So this one, I could find that corner and connect it to the vanishing point. But these 2 corners are like way out here, okay? So they're not actually on the paper for me to see to connect with my ruler. So I just kind of guessed where the end of that square would be. So that's my vanishing point, and I just guessed the other point would be here-ish. So yeah, just try your best. This is a difficult project, and it's okay if you mess it up or if it doesn't look good or like mine or whatever. All I want you to do is try your best, because this is a new thing we're learning, and it's okay if you mess up, okay? So trace these lines with your Sharpie, and then I will tell you what to do next. Alright, so I traced it. So now that it's in Sharpie, it's a little bit easier to see. That was our vanishing point down there. Notice that I did not make a huge black dot with my Sharpie, okay? That was a vanishing point with the dot with the pencil, just so our brains could make sense where to connect the lines with the ruler, okay? That is not an actual line in the sky or in your image, right? But if you'll notice, all of our lines converge back to that point in the middle, okay? Now you see here, like what I was talking about, this is behind this square, so you don't see it. Same thing with this one. Okay, you see that? All right. Now, what we're going to do, this is optional. I would prefer if you did this. Inside each square, not the converging parts, just the squares, we are going to draw different types of lines. For example, there are wavy lines, bumpy lines, squiggly lines, swirly lines, straight lines. Fill those squares with patterns with your black Sharpie, okay? Don't color them in. We're going to leave that black and white, okay? I'm going to decorate mine, and then I will come back and show you. Alright, so here's mine. Got some stars, zigzag lines, bumpy lines. These are curly lines I just overlapped so it looks crazy. Castle lines or squared lines, either one, same thing. These are just little X's. These are swirly lines, diagonal lines, and dots or dotted lines. Okay, so that was with my Sharpie. Remember, we're leaving that black and white. Now, we are going to color in all of our converging lines. This is important. We are going to color them in. You will use 2 colors per square, I guess. Yeah, 2 colors per square. So like my swirly square, I will use, for these 2, I will use 2 colors. The darker one toward the middle, the vanishing point, and then the lighter one out here, okay? I'm going to show you what it looks like. Try to use colored pencils. They're the easiest to blend. If you don't have those, use crayons or oil pastels. Please try not to use markers. They get messy and it doesn't look as neat, okay? So I'm just going to color those in and I'm going to blend them. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so all I've done so far is, like I said with my swirly line, this is where I'm starting with red down here, and I'm going very, very, very light, okay? I'm not bearing down very hard. All I'm doing, you see how light that is? I'm staying with that pencil pressure very light, and I'm just building up the color. I am not bearing down hard. Up here, I'm going to do the same thing with orange, keeping it lighter down here and more concentrated up here so that in the middle it blends together. Okay, so I filled in all this with orange. You can see the red is still down here and it blends nicely. It's still a little too light for my taste. You can keep it this light, but like I said, if you're going to build up the color like I am, do not bear down hard. If you start to bear down hard, it gets very sloppy, uneven. You can see your pencil marks and it just doesn't look as good. So I'm just going to keep it light and I'm going to build up my color. I've colored all mine in. So let's go over some of the colors I used. So here I used yellow to orange, light green to dark green, pink to purple, pink to dark blue, orange to red, yellow to light green, blue to purple, dark green to dark blue, pink to red, and light blue to dark green, okay? So it doesn't really matter what colors you use, but try not to use complementary colors. If you look at the color wheel, that's the color opposite of the color wheel. I'll show you on the back so you know what I mean. When you blend those colors, like in this part in the middle, they turn brown. I'll demonstrate just to let you know not to do that real quick. Okay, so red and green equal gross. Orange and blue equal disgusting. And yellow and purple equal ew, okay? So they all look like a muddy brown gray color. So if you do those two in the same section, like in your same square, in this middle blended part, it's gonna turn that ugly brown color instead of a nice blended color like this, okay? It's not gonna be a nice transition. So try to stick to colors that are right next to each other in the rainbow, or even the same color, like I did light green and dark green. You can do that, like a light blue and a dark blue, or I did pink and purple. You can do stuff like that. Just, yeah, try not to do the complementary colors because they look ugly together. And we'll learn more about that when we go over color, which is our next project. This is just practice. So yeah, that's it, guys. A few things I want to mention. It does help if you kind of grind down the edge of your pencil so that it's at an angle. You see that right there? I know I have a Space Jam Band-Aid. If you grind down the edge of your pencil, it writes a lot smoother and it doesn't look like a pencil mark. It looks more like just flat color. That helps for blending and for smoothness. What else? Oh, it also helps if when you are coloring, if you color in the direction of the section. So instead of coloring this way, you color this way. So not only does it blend the colors nicely together since they're going in that direction, it also helps with the illusion that everything is going back to this point, because all of your lines, even your color lines, are going into that point, okay? That helps. Not mandatory, but it does help with the illusion. Lastly, you can leave your background white if you want, or you can color it. If you were to color it, I would color it some kind of neutral, like a gray, or if you did a very, very light color so that it doesn't take away from the boldness of all your squares. And then also, if you wanted to, you could color the tops of the squares. Like maybe I would color this one a light orange or this one a pink to match the converging lines, right? I'm gonna leave mine white because I think it helps with the illusion that this is the lightest part and it's facing the sun or whatever, the fictional sun, right? The lightest part is always closest to us and the darkest part is farther away, right? If you missed class, we're not doing this all in one class. We might not even get to this at all in the first class. If you miss it and you want to catch up, you can try this. If not, do it for fun. If you're watching and you're not even in my classes and you're just watching my YouTube channel, cool, try it out. Leave me a comment, tell me how it goes. And yeah, that's it. That is 1 point perspective. Awesome job, guys.